When we open the crates, you'll see inside the new heavy-duty main rail. Inside these other packaging is your torch height control components. Then you have your flame torch, your main cross beam with the pipes all running through the inside. Our second crate has our Starfire control panel. The main board, etc. is all inside here, enclosed in this housing, and the drive motors and everything are all inside the housing. In the bag we have the software, which is FastCam. We have DVDs, we have cutting chips, etc. All the loose components, the remote control, and basically your Starfire control panel. We'll get it all out, set it all up, and we're going to run a lead for your torch height control and on-off for the plasma cutter. The plasma cutter we're setting up today is going to be a Unimig Cut 45 for 50:1 CNC. This is a Unimig SCM 80R machine torch, 35mm on the shaft size, which matches up with the with our bracket here, which is supporting bracket from the torch height control. Only issue was from the factory, this is 36mm here, so it wouldn't slide over, so we had to get a bit of linishing belt and just run that backwards and forwards over that till we get it small enough there to actually slide over. This is the newer version of the SCFP 1525 single rail machine. As you can see, they've increased the weight. They've increased the weight and the construction of the main rail, which is now all fabricated, aluminium runners, going up to the Starfire control panel, same basic Starfire control panel, with an update of the software itself. And torch height control is the same. That is the Unimig torch there, machine torch, which we had to slightly modify to get into there. Okay, when you're assembling a machine, it comes with a guard which goes on the side there, which bolts on before you put your torch height control, and there's another one that goes on the torch height control. This is the profile of the new cross arm. If you want, you could make yourself up a couple of brackets, which was a standoff. I'll seem to show you a picture of the ones that I had, but this is a different profile, so you'd have to just make your own drawing and cut it to suit. This is a standoff, which is quite a good little project early on when you're setting up your machine. The standoff holds the cable approximately a foot above the cross beam and keeps all your cable out of the road and it doesn't get caught in top of anything. All it is two plates with an end cap on either end. Inside the top end cap you can see welded in a nut, with a lock nut. The threaded rod goes through the centre and is locking onto the main cross beam, and then we use the other bigger nut there to lock it in position. And all it has then is just the two nuts on the top to hold the piece of angle iron. When you're fitting a machine torch, make sure that you get it 90 degrees to your cutting plate in both directions, in that direction and in the other direction. A bit difficult because I haven't got something flat to set it on. Because your bracket is in the road a little bit, an easy way is just to side it up, and you can use the bubblers also. We've hooked our bottom plug up as per the directions supplied with the machine. So we have 4 wires coming out. 2 are for the torch height control. In this case I've made it the red and the black, and the other 2 are for the starting, blue and yellow. So all we want to do is make sure we've got them hooked up correctly and the machine is set up correctly internally. This is the main output there, which is 50:1 as it says. It has a brown and a blue wire on it. So the brown is hooked up to the positive, the blue wire is hooked up to the negative, and to the right there's a little jumper, and the jumper is set on 50:1. So that's the 50:1 outlet, plus the jumper set correctly, so that's okay. So what we're doing is just making sure we have continuity between the positive and the one we've hooked up to the positive terminal on our 4-pin plug. In my case it was red, so my red now is to connect to the brown, that's continuity, and the other one is hooked to the black, that's continuity for that, so we know that's minus. So they're both correct, and then the blue and yellow in my setup are running through to the relay, which turns the machine on and off. But the main one is to get right is this one here for the 50 to 1 plus minus, to make sure we've got it right, make sure it's 50 to 1 and make sure we've got it on the right terminals. The Razor Cut 45 manual is saying starting is terminal 3 and 4, V minus is 5, V plus is 6. So we're just going to check that, make sure that's okay, because I haven't got a plug to put on here at the moment. So when that plug comes, I've got to make sure it's all working. So I'm going to just bodge it up now and test it. Okay, so we're just going to confirm that positive is on terminal 6, negative is on terminal 5, and this one here I'm just going past to show that it's actually going to trigger. So it's just a relay which we use. So it's set on 0. I've set my machine, my multimeter, onto 200. So it's 50 to 1 reduction. So if it's 100 volts, we'll be looking for 2 volts. So we'll see what we get. We put that onto there. We're going to check, make sure we've got to check our polarity. Okay, 6 volts, positive, the right way around. So the modification is indicated in the pictures. It's a removal of a small resistor.